Okay, when you're picking out your poblano peppers for your chile relleno, just make sure that they're really big. Like pick the biggest ones that you can find. Some of these are not as big as I've seen others, but they're good size. You want to stay away from like the small ones like this, and if they have any like rotten spots or just some kind of blemishes like that, stay away from those as well. But just try to find the biggest plumpest ones that you can find. Like all of these right here are pretty good. Oh, there's a good one. So just make sure they're nice and big, and they'll be good for chile relleno. So we'll start by rinsing the chilies to make sure that we remove all dust and dirt from the chilies. Next, we're going to place them on a baking sheet pan and just arrange them across and make sure that there's plenty of room. Place them in your oven with the broiler set on high, and you're going to just let them sit in here for anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, and they are going to start blistering and charring beautifully. And you just want to come in here and move them around, make sure that all sides have the opportunity to be under the hot broiler. I'll come in after a few more minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, check on them, take a peek, and give them a little toss. And again, a few minutes later, I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to keep moving them around, making sure that the entire chile is exposed to the broiler and that it's getting charred on all sides. And I just kind of move them around. Sometimes I'll stack them on top of each other to make sure that every bit of the chile has the opportunity to roast nicely. So I'll come in here several times and do the same process. And once I start noticing that some of them are done, I'll take them out, place them inside of ziplock bags where they're going to start steaming, and the skin, the peel, is going to come loose from the flesh of the chile. I'm going to start peeling them while the chile is still hot and steamy. And the steam is actually helping me to remove the peel from the chile. So definitely these are going to be a little bit hot. So if you move fast, it won't burn your hands. So just keep that in mind and make sure that you take all of the skin off of the chile from top to bottom. And then you'll have a nice, shiny, clean chile. And then you just continue. Each time, if you notice, I open the Ziploc bag, I take the chile out, and then I quickly Ziploc it again to leave the steam in the bag. And I work as fast as I can to remove the skin, the peels from the chile, and I just continue the process. You can see the steam that's still coming from the chile because, like I said, these are fresh out of the oven and have sat in the Ziploc bag for maybe 4 or 5 minutes before I actually start peeling them. And I just continue. I usually put, if I'm going to do a batch of 12 chiles, I'll put like 6 chiles in one Ziploc bag and 6 in the other. I try not to overcrowd the Ziploc bag. So I usually do 6 or 7 to a Ziploc bag. And these are just regular storage bags. You don't have to use any special kind of bag. They're just regular storage bags. And you can use freezer bags too. But I just use off-brands and they work just fine. So now I'm going to seed the chile. So I take a little stream of water and I just do one by one with my hands. If it has a slit already in the chile, I use that slit to start taking the seeds out with my fingers, give them a little rinse, a little squeeze, get the water off of there. And if it doesn't have a slit, I'll create a slit. And just go in there and just take the seeds out. Let the stream of water in your sink help you out there. Obviously, you've got a colander on the bottom, a sieve that's catching all the seeds so they don't end up in your sink. And I just do this, like I said, it's just a little stream of water, not a lot of water. You don't want to use the tap water too high because that might cause your chile to fall apart or the stems to fall off. So it's just a little tiny stream of water to seed the chiles. Once I've got them all seeded and cleaned up, now I'm going to stuff them. So I take my pepper jack cheese, cut it into little squares, and then I'm going to start the process of filling them with cheese. So I'll add 1 square, and then I take and I cut it a diagonal, and then I take the point on the end of the chile there, and there you go. It is now stuffed with cheese. I set that aside, and I just keep going, and that's how I stuff them. So I take a block of cheese, add it there to the top, take the point, make sure the point is at the bottom, and there you go. It's ready for the next step. So I'm just going to keep going down the process here and keep stuffing these with cheese. And once I'm done stuffing them, I'll actually take a saran wrap and cover them up and chill them for a little while so that they firm up. The chiles firm up, the cheese gets firm, everything is easier to handle for the next step. So again, I keep filling these with cheese. Now I'm going to add my saran wrap, and I'm just going to let them hang out in the fridge while I do the next step. So they don't have to stay in there for very long, but I'm going to work on the salsa now. I'll take a couple of tomatoes and get them on a skillet with a piece of foil paper. That's just for easy cleanup. And then I take 2 cloves of garlic with the husks on the garlic, because you're going to take and toast these. And you want to leave the husk on the garlic so that you don't burn the garlic. These are just roasting on the comal or the skillet. And you don't have to use a piece of foil paper, but like I said, it's easy cleanup and it works beautiful. So it's just 2 tomatoes and 2 cloves of garlic. And also I'm going to use the garlic powder and the oregano that you see there for this tomato salsa. This tomato salsa is not spicy at all. It is just full of flavor, and it is a tomato sauce that goes on top of the chile. So once those are done, I'm just going to add these to the blender. 1 tomato, 2 tomatoes. I'm going to take the garlic and take the husk off now. And what do you have inside? A beautiful roasted clove of garlic. It's not burned or charred or anything. That husk protected it when it was on the skillet. And it goes into the blender. I'm going to add 1/4 of a teaspoon of garlic powder. I know it's got garlic already, but this just adds a delicious flavor. And then I'm going to add 2 teaspoons, pardon me, 2 teaspoons of oregano. You don't want to add any other liquid. There's plenty of juice in these tomatoes. You don't have to add any water to this. Give it a few pulses. Add some salt to taste. Just a couple little pinches of salt. And give that a little pulse or two. And then you're going to be ready to run it through a sieve to get all of the tomato peel out of there and the oregano. So that you're just going to run it through the sieve with a spoon and make sure that you're, pressing down with the spoon. And then I also will take the sieve and run it across the bowl there to scrape the sauce from the bottom of the sieve. And look at all that junk. That's what you don't want in your tomato sauce. So that's why I run it through the sieve. Okay, take a little wooden spoon, and give it a little stir, and that is ready to go. Very flavorful, very delicious. You can't have a chile relleno without the tomato sauce. All right, so now I'm going to work on the egg whites. This is the batter that goes on the chile. So I usually separate my eggs in a bowl just to make sure that none of the yellow egg yolks will crack and fall in there, and no eggshells either. So that's why I do that in a bowl. Okay, so now I'm going to whip them. I use my KitchenAid mixer. Nothing is going to lift your egg whites like a KitchenAid mixer. So if you don't have one, this would be a good investment. So right now, these are getting close to firm or stiff peaks. It's getting close there. And this is when I'm going to add the egg yolks. Well, I'm going to add some salt first, and then the egg yolks. Don't go too far with these. They're done. They get yellow really quick, and there you go. There's your firm, stiff peak, they call it. And now I'm going to start the process of frying these up. So I've got my pans ready to go. They're hot. I add my oil, and then I'm going to start down the line. I take the chile and I I roll it in the flour. This is going to help the egg batter to stick to the chile. Just pat it lightly. You don't want to add too much flour. I'll take with 2 hands, hold the chile to making sure that the cheese doesn't slip out, and I'll dip it into the bowl with the batter, and then I gently lay it on my skillet. And then I'm going to take another one here and just roll it in the flour, pat it gently. That's going to help the egg to stick. Once again, with 2 hands, I'm holding the chile, making sure the cheese doesn't slip out, and getting the one side of the chile coated, and then the other side I use a spoon to spread the batter over the top. This is a lot easier than dipping the entire chile into the egg batter, because when you do that, you can lose control of the chile, the cheese could slip out, and a number of other problems. So I just take 2 hands, dip it into the batter, lay it on the skillet, and then I do the top with a spoon. And that way you ensure that your chile stays together and you don't lose control of it when you're dipping it into the egg batter. And then I continue the process. Obviously I've got some that are already in the skillet, and I continue my work in the other pan. And I just continue the process. Now, while I'm working on this one, some of the others are going to start being done very quickly. So you're kind of multitasking here. And then you can tell when it's time to flip it, because you'll see that it's light and golden on the edges. So there you go. Be careful not to splash the oil on yourself. And don't panic. It's very forgiving. The batter is very forgiving. It's an egg batter, so it's going to stay together. You're going to be able to shape it and move it around. So don't panic if your chile kind of just goes all over the pan. Don't panic. You can move it around and maneuver that batter. And then just keep going. And so a lot of things going on those skillets there. You got to think fast. You got to move fast. So here I am just giving them one more flip over, making sure that all of the batter is going to get nice and crispy and fried up nicely. Continue working on the other skillet, making sure my chiles are coated with batter. And these look like they're getting ready to be flipped as well. But these have to come out of the pan first. And so I take paper towels, drain them on paper towels, because you want to make sure some of that oil comes off of it. You don't want them to be too greasy, too oily. So take those aside, and then these are ready to be flipped. And looking good. Beautiful. And there you go. There are the completed chile rellenos and your sauce. And the sauce just goes right over the chile. This is how I plate it. Take the sauce, and I just use a little salsa ladle spoon and pour it over the chile. And that's how you serve it. There you have it.